everyone, it's Hayes, and in today's video we're going to be doing the analysis / commentary for episode 6, Miraculous Ladybug season 5, Determination. And I'm sorry if I sound sad. The reason I sound sad is because I am sad. Not because it was a bad episode, really enjoyed it, but it has made me sad. I did very nearly cry when I was watching it. I didn't film a reaction because it was in French and I can't react properly when I don't have the subtitles when I watch it for the first time. And the only reason I didn't cry was because I already did my makeup and I liked how it looked. But yeah, and I just finished watching it with the subtitles and now I'm even sadder. Okay, before I go any further, I'm about to spoil the whole thing for you, so if you haven't watched it yet, I will try my best, but I make no promises, to find some places where you can watch it, and if I do find them, they'll be linked in the description box, but usually it's best to watch the episode as close to it coming out as possible before the links get taken down for copyright and stuff like that. And second of all, my other usual disclaimer, I haven't read the show Bible or seen the vast majority of the leaks. I know a lot of people watch me because they haven't seen them either, and they would very much like to keep it that way, as would I. So I could really appreciate it if you didn't post any comments about Bible leaks, Bible spoilers, leaks in general, just whatever, for anything, including the show or the movie. People don't want to know, so please respect their opinions. Now, oh my god, what an episode. It was so good. Like, I'm not sad because it was bad. Very good episode. I'm sad because I'm sad. It made me sad. So I give it a 9 out of 10. And the only reason it's a 9, not a 10, is I felt something was a bit off with the akumatization in the episode. I know that certainly wasn't the focus of this episode, which is fine, but I don't know, I just felt a bit strange to me. Maybe it's because we don't know Veronique super well. She's barely been in the show. Like, she was in Destruction, then I think prior to that she's only really been in Puppeteer 2. I don't recall any other episodes she's been in, but I didn't think that was really where the problem lied. Like, we've had plenty of other Akuma villains, especially in season 1, that we didn't really know as an audience. Like, if it wasn't a class member or a parent of someone from the class, we probably wouldn't know them, you know? So I didn't think that was a problem. I don't know, maybe because like Chloe was the one who was the start of the catalyst. Obviously her dad went to go and talk to Veronique, but she was the one who kind of like started the process off by complaining about it. So maybe it might have been better served opening with Chloe. I don't know, it just something felt a little bit off with the pacing of the akumatization, the structure of it, but otherwise it was great. So that's only a tiny thing, that's hence why it's like 9 out of 10. I don't think it was like a deal breaker for the episode. I don't think it made it a bad episode. But oh my god, I know I've been saying since I've been started making videos on Miraculous, and I believe, so I didn't start making like spoiler videos and commentary videos until season 4, but I think I made a couple of videos on Miraculous towards the end of season 3, not particularly about like what the current events of the show were, more like ranking the characters, ranking the relationships and stuff. But I've been saying since then, it's like, oh, we need a love square flip to happen, we need it to happen. Even though I know we need it to happen. And back then it was something I was very excited for. I didn't think, sorry, I don't want to cry. I know it's a silly thing to cry about, but the reason I watch the show is for the love square. If you don't watch the show for the love square, then it's probably, you won't care about it. Try not to cry, I've got to film another video after this. As much as I wanted it, I didn't think the love square flipping would be this painful. But it is, because for some reason I can take one-sided Lady Noir with Adrien, and I can take one-sided Adrienne with Marinette. But now it's different, with one-sided Lady Noir with a sad Ladybug looking at Cat Noir the way she did in this episode, and the same way with Adrien, one-sided Adrienne with him looking at Marinette the way he did in this episode, is physically hurting me. I can't stand seeing either of them upset, especially not Marinette. Seeing Marinette upset is just the absolute worst to me. I love Marinette so much and I can't stand it when I see her upset. And it's just so painful to know that all this time, I know they're still in love technically with the same person, they just don't know it yet. But all this time they've been in love with the same person, only for literally at the same time they switch to the other person and it's just all of a sudden too late. I know it's not technically too late because it's still the same person, but because they don't know, especially with Marinette, how it ended, oh my god, the ending tore me apart. This week hasn't been fun. I was like, I just feel just about as devastated as Marinette, to be honest. I get far too invested in the show. Okay, so let's get into it. The opening was wonderful. Adrien, so sweet. And I loved how he was like, why is Marinette leaving after she dropped Kagami off? And Kagami was like, well, yeah, she doesn't do fencing, you idiot. Of course she's leaving. Kagami was actually I quite liked Kagami in this episode. Not the biggest fan of Kagami, as you all know. She's literally, I was about to say my least favourite character, but I think Chris has taken that spot. I hate Chris so much. But Kagami, from what we've seen this season, which hasn't been much, I know, but I'm like, okay, I actually quite liked her in this episode. Part of the problem I have with Kagami is that she's written often very inconsistently throughout the show. Like, for example, in Frozen, the audience isn't meant to like her, so she's written that way. In this episode, she's meant to, so she's written that way. Another episode, she's meant to be like her in. In Ikari Goes, and we're meant to like her, so she's written that way. She has very inconsistent writing, depending on what the writers want you to view her like, instead of letting you have your own opinion. So yeah, I didn't like her that much. However, I did like her in this episode. Loved the picture, the drawing was beautiful. I just loved how straightforward Kagami was. She was like, you like her? And he was like, no I don't, she's a friend. And she was just like, you are blind. Because like when I was watching the episode, I didn't really know what she was saying until I translated it afterwards. I listened to it back slowly because I'm learning French, I'm not fluent in French. And because when I was watching it, I was like, oh god, they're both as blind as each other. And then when Kagami was like, you are blind, you are blind, I was like, yes Kagami, I agreed with you for the first time ever. It was just, but it was like a cute exchange. I really liked it. Showed how far they come. Oh my god, Kagami as well. She said something like, you look at Marinette the same way I hoped you'd look at me. And I was like, oh, no. Hit a nerve there. Okay, Kagami. And then like the parallel scene to that was on the boat with Luca and Marinette and the rest of Kitty section and Milan. And they were like, why are you freaking out when Adrien rings? It was so funny. And then they're all there staring into her soul as she's on the phone to him. Great. And I absolutely loved their enthusiasm when they realised it was a date with Adrien she'd agreed to. That's how I translated it, right? A date, rendezvous, like a date, yeah? That's what I took it to mean. And that kind of added up with the way they were so happy for her, right? It was a date. French people, please don't have her wrong. That's what I'm translating rendezvous as. Because I feel like it could mean meeting, but also like a date, right? Because Adrien's like, let's have a meeting together at the Grover Museum. He means like a date. Yeah? Please tell me I'm right, that's how I viewed it. Anyway, I did also like as well, so I actually rewatched Puppeteer 2 twice last night in preparation for the Halloween screaming session. And the whole way through that scene I was just cringing all over the place. I couldn't stop laughing. I was so embarrassed having to watch it back. I'm glad Adrien has fond memories of that scene because I certainly don't. And also just Adrien in general. I absolutely loved the way he was in this episode. Like the way he looks at her all the way through this episode was just so beautiful. Like that's part of the reason why Guilt Trip is one of my favourite episodes in the show, because of the way Adrien looks at her in the boiler room scene. Oh my god. But so I love the way he was. Not that I really care about the animation that much, but I did really like the way he was, I guess, animated to look at her. Seriously, besties, if the person you're dating does not look at you the same way Adrien Agreste looked at Marinette in either the boiler room scene or in this episode, you're dating the wrong person. Don't come to me for dating advice though at the same time. I don't know what I'm talking about. And also with Adrien in the episode, when it came out, they're looking at the statue of him and Adrien was just like, yep, you kissed me. He didn't even care, he was just like, yeah, that's what happened, it was great. Great experience, loved it, it was wonderful. There were so many funny moments in this episode, which I think was really needed because of how upsetting it got. So I did have fun, but then right at the end I was like, Honestly, I feel like these commentary videos are just slowly becoming me making a series of incoherent noises that express how I felt about the episode without actually using words, just making a noise and hoping you all feel the same way. Anyway, so the jealousy part is also another bit that did kind of rub me the wrong way. I didn't mind the first bit of jealousy, so Kagami and Adrien wait outside the museum and Luca and Marinette arrive. And Adrien gets jealous. And I didn't mind that bit so much because they were just walking up with linked arms. They weren't intending to make Adrien jealous, they were just arriving together as friends and he just got jealous. Which is just a thing that happens, sometimes you get jealous, fine, whatever. But the second instance inside the museum, when Luca was like, oh, let's make him jealous kind of thing, I didn't enjoy so much. I liked the fact that Marinette wasn't in on it. and that it was kind of Luca and partly Kagami's doing. So I wasn't the biggest fan of that. I just hate it in either real life or in books or films or whatever, when they're like, oh, let's see how this person feels about you by making them jealous. I'm not a big fan of that. I don't like it. If someone gets jealous because they get jealous, for example in the first bit when they're outside the museum, that was fine. Luca and Marinette weren't intending to make Adrien jealous, he just felt it. Whereas Luca in that other scene was intending to make Adrien jealous. So I have a bit more of a problem with it. So yeah, because like the show, like the aim of kids show is to teach stuff to kids. So I'm not sure that really goes over well by teaching kids like, yeah, if you want to check if someone likes you, try and get them to feel jealous. I don't like it. I personally, with the guy I like, wouldn't want him to make him purposely feel jealous by pretending I like someone else in order to get him to tell him how he feels about me. I just think it's silly. If someone did it to me, I'd get quite upset. However, saying that, I did quite like the way they did Adrien's reaction with him saying like, I want to be in Luca's place. I actually did quite like that. So yeah, and then oh my god, we moved to the hero's room thing. Adrien in that scene was amazing, and he was like, you can tell me anything, you can tell me everything. Amazing. And I was kind of thinking that Marinette, after they get together, because remember last night we got that I feel like it's going to get interrupted for sure, of them on Swan Island with ice cream about to kiss. I feel like Adrien and Marinette will get together, even though Marinette does have feelings for Cat Noir now, and she will reveal her identity to him and tell him that she's Ladybug because she believes she can tell Adrien anything. But I just feel after that point it's gonna go badly. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because of the way the season has progressed, particularly with Jubilation and now this episode. Even though I want the identity reveal to happen more than anything, and I want Adrien to get together more than anything, I just feel like it's gonna go badly. I can't explain it. I just have a gut feeling that it's not gonna go as well. And maybe it's because we've had two identity reveals before in Cat Blanket and Ephemeral, which were very cute and sweet and lovely identity reveals, and I absolutely loved them. I just feel like the real one maybe can't go as well. So I don't know, maybe I'm just cynical, but I just have like a gut feeling. Like, if you didn't know, I'm a professional author and one of my areas of speciality is romance writing. I just have a gut feeling from all my years of experience of reading and writing it that it's not gonna go well. And I can't really articulate why exactly. I just feel like it's gonna go terribly, that I'm gonna cry. I feel like before I watch any of these episodes I need to stop doing my makeup. I need to like do my reaction videos without makeup on, because I just feel like I'm gonna start crying all the time. I am still sad, even after talking it through, I'm still sad. What is the show for 8-year-olds doing to me? Anyway, so another line I really loved was when Luca said, you have more in common with Adrien than you think, obviously hinting at Wishmaker. And speaking of Luca, I know a lot of people always said like, oh, it'd be cute for Luca and Kagami to get together, and I've always been a bit like, really? Do you really think that? I've never particularly shipped them together, but actually seeing them interact together in this episode, I believe it's probably one of the first times they've really interacted with each other, I actually thought they were quite cute together. And would Kagami's mum 100% disapprove of Luca? Yes, she would, which is why I think it's even cuter, so they should definitely do it. Anyway, so now let's talk about all the stuff when the Ladybug and Cat Noir. I loved the whole fight with all the teamwork going on. It was amazing, and just in terms of teamwork, the way Cat Noir was encouraging and helping Ladybug, amazing. Loved it. And I also quite liked the idea of the Mega Akuma being split up and they had to like get all the different parts of like its essence or whatever. I don't know how to describe it, but like they had to tear each card and get a bit after time. But they had to like tear a card and get like a little bit of it each time they ripped up a card. So I actually did quite like the idea that it was split up. However, Ivan and his hammer, oh my god. I would have been terrified. Like when he first walks in, that scene, so Veronique storms into the office where Chloe and the mayor are, and Ivan's behind her with this humongous hammer that's probably like the size of Andre's head, and he's got a long hair, do you know what I mean? And then afterwards he's just stood in the corner of the room with the mayor, and Chloe has got the hammer held over the mayor's head. I would have, if I was Ladybug, I would walk into that room, I would have been like, you know what? I'm just going to leave you all to it because I'm not facing the wrath of Ivan's hammer. Goodbye. Thank you. I wouldn't bother. I absolutely also really love, this is like me slowly becoming a Lady Noir rather than like Adrien stan, but I also loved how just before they go into town hall, I'm pretty sure, I can't remember, what does she say exactly? Like Ladybug's kind of like, oh, you like look really good today sort of thing. I'm not sure if she means it as in like he's handsome or like he's on like good form as in like he's doing a good job, but either way I did think it was really cute how right in the middle of this battle she was like, hi, I just want to give you a little compliment. So cute. This is my Lady Noir stan transformation. Not that I hated it before, I liked it, but like I've always been, like my first one has already been Adrien, then like Marichat, then obviously Gabe Nath, which who knows what's happening to Gabe Nath anymore. My whole life is just being destroyed in the course of this children's TV show. I'm gonna be so traumatised after this. Anyway, but I'm slowly coming around to being more of a stan of Lady Noir. I really like it. And also, why on earth, whenever there's a fake Ladybug around, like in Sandboy or like Antibug or whatever, why does fake Ladybug always get some sort of like medieval torture weapon as her lucky charm? What on earth is that about? Also, why did her power work, if that makes sense? Do you know what I mean? I didn't quite get why her power works. None of the others seem to be using their powers because they're just a wax statue. They can't, but they seem to have the power. However, saying that, I also watched Puppeteer 2 last night, and Lady Wi-Fi and the Bubble statues also had their powers, so it seems a bit strange. I wouldn't have thought Veronique would be able to give them the power. I literally just thought she brought them to life, and I would like it'd be plausible for them to physically fight Ladybug and Cat Noir, fair enough. But for them to be able to use their powers like a lucky charm, and also for them to be able to speak as well, because Cat Noir speaks to, the fake Cat Noir speaks to Ladybug. I don't know, how do you all feel about that? I didn't mind so much, but when I rewatched it a couple of times I was a bit like, huh, how come she can use her power? She's just a wax statue, the earrings aren't real, and she hasn't been given, like the statue hasn't been given the power for her to use the power, if that makes sense. But maybe I'm just thinking about it too much, because it did happen in Puppeteer 2 as well, but I don't know, But I did really like the fact that the other Cat Noir could talk and how he was used against Ladybug. Not that they are like Paris knows how Ladybug feels about Cat Noir, but I did like how they tried to use him against her. That was such a good touch. And oh my god, to tell you, I screamed. I was sat here watching the episode, I screamed, thank god the rest of my family were out of the house. I 100% screamed when Cat Noir was like, hey, you okay, after he saved her, and the bubbles came on. I don't believe there's ever been a bubble scene for Cat Noir prior to this, unless it's been like a dream sequence or like part of Cat Noir's imagination. So absolutely loved that. Loved it. I also really liked Chloe in this episode. I feel like she should have been included a bit more, but I liked how basically she did kind of like have a go at Ladybug for everything that happened. Not that I'm saying that I wanted her to make Marinette upset, but I was wondering if it was going to be a point where there would be some Parisians who would be annoyed after what had happened in the events of Strike Back. I know at the end of Strike Back, like, we get the little images of everyone like looking up at the sky. Chloe and Zoe have one together, I believe. They both do look quite worried, but I was wondering like if someone would have a problem with it, and of course it would be Chloe. Of course it would be Chloe. Although right, Cat Noir, he must be traumatised. The amount of people he has cataclysmed in the past several weeks. He must be going through it. First his dad, not that he knows it's his dad. Then the Dark Owl he was about to cataclysm, then just went for the mask. And now Veronique. I know he didn't do this one himself. She was like, grab your wrist, put it on me, sort of thing. But in that split second, when he touches her, he must have been going through it. Like, he is not going to be okay after this season. The same way the rest of us won't be okay, I'm sure as well. But anyway, then the final part of the Akuma fight, after they've fought the Akuma and they go up on the rooftops. Ladybug's like, I worked out my true feelings, and Cat Noir's like, yeah, me too. Bye! I don't know how much longer I can do this for, besties, before I just have a breakdown in one of these videos. Oh god, it was genuinely upsetting, and then at the end she was like, oh, do you have to go? Like, please, like, stay. I want to stay with you. I want to spend more time with you. And he was like, oh, I'm about to de-transform. I'll see you next time. Bye. Just for the sake of my mental health, can you please just tell each other who you are? Please. Please. So by the end of the episode, when they go back to the museum, it's quite obvious that Adrien's in love. He says as much like, I'm sure that I'm in love. And he's very worried for Marinette. He's like, oh, thank God you're here, you're not in danger or whatever. He's very happy to see her. But then outside, Marinette leaves because she's upset about the revelation from Cat Noir. She starts crying and she's upset looking at the thing of Cat Noir because she realises she's fallen in love with him. At the exact moments, he is no longer in love with Ladybug. And it just makes me want to scream. I shan't, but I want to. I am hoping in Passion and Reunion there isn't going to be much of this Love Square stuff. Not because I don't want there to be. Well, actually, yeah. Because I don't want there to be. As in, like, I don't want to get upset about it any further. Reunion seems like it's going to be focused on the past Ladybugs and what's going on with Alex. And Passion seems like it's going to be more focused on Natalie and them switching Miraculouses. Illusion though, since it's going to be a more school episode, probably get more Love Square stuff in that. Although saying that, I was actually quite happy with Adrien and his feelings in this episode. I said in my multiplication video and another video since that I didn't quite believe that Adrien had fallen for Marinette, but in this episode I did believe it, so hopefully Illusion, which is obviously in the middle, will help clear up some things where that's concerned. But yeah, I thought this was a really good episode. Very sad but very well written, had a good pace to it. The structure felt a bit off to me in terms of Veronique and the akumatization. Maybe that's just me, maybe I'm being too harsh on it, but when I was watching it, like I've watched it 3 times now, every time I've watched it I've been a bit like, felt a bit off there, and I think it's to do with the akumatization. I don't know if they should have brought Veronique in earlier in the episode or brought in Chloe earlier in the episode. Not quite sure, so I'd love to know your thoughts on that. So 9 out of 10 overall. I would say the MVP... I would say the MVP is Adrien and Cat Noir because I thought he did a fabulous job helping Ladybug. He did a wonderful job with Marinette, stuff like that. But special mentions for Kagami and Luca because I thought they did a pretty good job in this episode, but Kagami more than Luca. Never thought Kagami would get a special mention for MVP. Maybe one day she will get MVP, but today is not that day. So yeah, I am feeling a little sad still, I'll be honest with you besties. I don't, like, even though we still have Adrienette, but this time it's Adrien falling for Marinette, I don't know. I just feel so upset about it that they've fallen out of love with each other only to fall back in love with each other. Like, I know they're the same person, but I'm finding it really upsetting. I know I said this at the start of the video. I know we need the Love Square flip to happen, but I never thought it would be this sad. I am genuinely sad about this. Okay, before I start crying, and I also need to edit and also eat food as well because I haven't eaten yet. I'd love to know what you thought of this episode, besties. If you're gonna leave me an essay, go for it, but please put some paragraphs in there. Don't have the best eyesight, so just help me out majorly if you put some paragraphs in there. Yeah, I think that's all I've got to say. It was a really good episode. And I'm just going to be traumatised the rest of my life about the show for 8-year-olds. So I'd love to know what you think, besties, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!